Okay, hello everyone who is listening to the A to Z of Football podcast with Alex, which is the A, and Zach, which is the Z. It's very clever like that, isn't it?
I know, it's mental.
We have to say it wasn't our ingenious work, that title. That was thought up by George Fry, the editor, who did a fantastic job with the first video. But we're back. We're back for another podcast. I, for one, am excited. But first of all, Zach, how you doing, mate? How are you keeping? You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all well. Family's all well. We're just going along.
Going along. You done anything stupid with your hair yet? Any like shaving off or any?
No, not yet. If anything, it's just getting really long, and I'm looking a bit like I should be in a part for Grease Lightning or something.
Oh,
like
nice.
I'm glad we're not on audio call now. I haven't done anything on my hair.
I think audio calls suit. I've got a good face for radio. A lot of people always tell me that I've got a great face for radio. But there we go.
I didn't want to tell you anything, mate.
Yeah, it's good, mate. It's all good. We're all friends here. Perfect.
All right, let's get on with the football chat.
Football chat. That's what you're here for. That's people are listening. They're here for football chat. What are we going to be talking about today, Zach?
Well, we have 3 topics in mind, same as last week. We are going to be talking about who we'd like to see win the Champions League if it ever gets going again. We're going to go through the teams that are left, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and see who we think deserves to win that prestigious trophy.
Big word.
Prestigious trophy. And then we're going to move swiftly on to talk about who we think should finish in the top 4 of the Premier League for this season. Lots of teams to talk about in that as well. It's been very tight in that part of the table. We're going to go through all the teams as well again, go for it, see who we think deserves it. We're going to go all the way from Chelsea all the way down to Burnley, and we're going to see who we want in there. We are also going to have a little bit of discussion as well about how we think the coronavirus is going to impact how we consume our sport. Are people going to be more wary going to stadiums after all when they reopen? Are people going to take more precaution? Or are we just going to go back to same old? We're going to have a little bit of chat about that towards the end. But I think we should start off with something a little bit more cheery. We are going to talk about, first off, Champions League football. Alex, are you excited?
I would be. This is the time right now where we won't be at the quarter-final stage, maybe semi-final stage.
This time last year, Tottenham pulled off the greatest miracle and beat Manchester City.
Gotta stop living in the past, you gotta stop living in the past, mate. You're out this season, you're out. I hate to say it, but you're out.
We're gone.
I quite like talking about Champions League football because as a Burnley fan, it probably will never come around in my lifetime. Maybe it will, maybe we get a billionaire investor who takes us through to the Champions League. We're getting top 4 every season, but for now we're Burnley. So it's fun talking about Champions League because there's nothing attached to it for me. So
let's start off with the first team. Let's talk about how confident do you think it is that PSG could go all the way?
So PSG, it's such a weird dilemma with them because they have all the players, they have all the talent. They're probably, I would say, the most talented squad. In the Champions League. Obviously, you're looking at Barcelona. I mean, there's obviously they're the best players in the world playing the Champions League. So every squad has some world-class players. But if you look from their defence to their attack, it is stacked. It's absolutely stacked. You've got Thiago Silva. He's been there for, I want to say, about 6-7 years now. Commanding their defence, obviously, all the time. And then recently bought, I think Mbappe's a once-in-a-lifetime sort of player. I think there's really talented youngsters about. And then there's this guy who's only 20 or 21, and he's absolutely smashing it. And
yeah, he is my favourite player in the world right now. There is no doubt.
I still think they do not have what it takes to win. And I think it's purely a mentality thing now.
Okay.
They've bottled it on numerous occasions and haven't even been to the semi-finals with their squad, which is incredible in the last 5 to 10 years when they've really a lot of money to play with.
Well, for the past few seasons, we see them bottle it in the round of 16. They comfortably got through that this time, beating Dortmund 3-2 on aggregate.
I was gutted about that, by the way.
Yeah.
Really gutted.
I absolutely gutted. I had Dortmund down to go quite far, actually, because I love Dortmund as a squad. They're young, they're enthusiastic, they're energetic. But PSG were just better on the day, but they were impressive in that 2-0 win in the second leg.
Were. I think, I was really gutted about that. But I think to be honest, the stadium being empty played a big part. I think that actually probably helped them, because if they've got a home crowd who, against a fairly inexperienced Dortmund team, although very talented, quite inexperienced, I think the crowd could have got on their backs a bit, but they did very well. Neymar stood up, and they managed to get through. I still think that they don't have. I think European prowess is a big thing, and that history in Europe is a big thing. Like, you see how Liverpool, now they're back in the Champions League. I mean, in the last couple of seasons, and maybe not this season with our first game yet, but once they're back in, they go far. You can always count on Real Madrid, however poorly they're playing, usually getting far. The only anomaly being Ajax last season. So, but
it's interesting talking about this, because I'm looking at the scores on my phone now. I've got them up of the last 16, and we don't actually have deciding results yet. I mean, Barcelona and Napoli postponed, Bayern Munich, Chelsea postponed, but although Bayern Munich won 3-0, so we can kind of guess who's going through there. Juventus, Lyon postponed, Manchester City, Real Madrid. I think Manchester City, Real Madrid is an interesting one. I think we should talk about that maybe, because Manchester City 1-2-1 away, which is crucial
after being 1-0 down, 2 away goals,
but this is Real Madrid.
It is, and they always find a way of pulling a result out of the bag just when you think, that's them. Because let's not lie, like, since Ronaldo's gone, they've lost an identity almost. They've lost that.
Absolutely.
They've lost the fear factor that they had. And I think City exploited that. I think they assumed they were going to be backs to the wall defending for their lives at the Bernabeu, but they weren't. I watched the whole match, and they deserved their lead going into the second leg.
Kevin De Bruyne was fantastic. He was a machine in that game.
If you tune into the last podcast, we had a lot to say about Kevin De Bruyne.
Yes.
Go and check it out if you haven't already. I think I'm one of I'm not sure what your view on this is, but I like to see English clubs do well. I never even it obviously if Arsenal were in it, you probably wouldn't want Arsenal to do so well. But overall, because I don't really have any allegiances with any top 6 club, I like to see English clubs do well, because I think it's good for English football if there are as many teams as possible from England in the latter stages.
Yeah. So for Man City, if they went and won the Champions League, I think I'd be really happy about it. Not because I like Manchester City, not because I'm a supporter of Manchester City, but I think, like you say, for English football,
I think it would be good for English football.
It would be incredible. Also, we're talking about Pep Guardiola here. If he doesn't win a Champions League at Manchester City with that squad, yes, he's done amazing things domestically. But if you can't beat Europe with arguably one of the better squads in Europe, does that mean he hasn't succeeded at Manchester City?
That's a very interesting question, isn't it? Because you'd look at his achievements so far in England, you look at the trophies he's won, and you just instantly, he's done a fantastic job. Like, no one can deny that. Then you look at the amount of money he spent, which is ludicrous, but you still say, 100 points, 98 points the next season, back-to-back titles, domestic treble. It's an unbelievable achievement.
I think Manchester City have the tools, and they have those 2 away goals on Real Madrid to get far. I think, agree. Though, if they come up against Bayern Munich, who I'm going to just say now, I'm very impressed by Bayern Munich this season. I'm thinking Bayern Munich are in that final. So if they come up against something like Bayern Munich, I could see them falter.
Interesting. I think Bayern Munich, it's a weird one. They seem to always have an aging team, in my opinion. Like
Mm,
every time I look, they have the same players that they had
mm.
5 years ago. Or when did they win it? 2013 they won it in,
2013, yeah.
and they have some of the same players that they had then, and it seems always like an ever aging team. However, I agree. I mean, they 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 just look unstoppable. Like in the Champions League this season, and in the Bundesliga they're doing quite well in comparison to where they usually are. But
Mm.
Champions League they look great. I mean, against Chelsea they just obliterated a young, inexperienced team. Alphonso Davies down at left back is just
Yeah.
another level.
I mean, Chelsea they've obliterated in the last 16. Obviously, we don't know what could have happened in the second leg or what will happen in that second leg. But I think it's fair to say 3-0 down, away goals as well.
It's
Bayern Munich are definitely going for on that one. They obliterated Spurs. They obliterated that whole group.
oh, of course 7-2. Yeah, of course.
7-2 at London as well.
Yeah, that's not
Um,
good.
that was a real low point.
Yeah.
But they've just been incredible, and I really, if they came back with the same intensity, I don't think there are many teams there that could really give them a really good game. Maybe Barcelona.
I think if we go through it, we can start maybe counting some out. I think Atalanta, they're through. It's a lovely story with them. It's a really nice story as, first European adventure.
Hmm.
They thought they were going out in the group stages. They got through. They drew Valencia, which is hilariously lucky out of all the teams. They got Valencia, and they got through them quite comfortably in the end, and very comfortably, in fact. I mean, Ilicic scored 4, didn't they? It was like that unbelievable performance.
Yeah, they won 4-8 on aggregate.
Yeah, that's pretty astonishing. However, I think it's safe to say we can count them out. Not because I don't think they've got a good, talented squad. It's just you compare them to the likes of the people they're left. I think, in my opinion, they're going to be out. Similarly with RB Leipzig as well. I know they looked good against you, but against Spurs, sorry.
Spurs weren't good though. So it's like if you come against Spurs last season, could have been different.
It wasn't a fully fit and informed Spurs squad. It was a squad that recently had a lot of injuries, were low on confidence, and Leipzig just took advantage of that. So I don't really think that, yes, they looked good, but
they've got a few key players, but I wouldn't put them up there. No.
So I think we can count Atalanta and Leipzig out.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid's an interesting one. It's Simeone. I quite like him because I see a lot of sort of don't laugh. Well, you can laugh if you want, but
Okay, all right, I'll prepare myself.
He reminds me a lot of Sean Dyche.
Okay, all right, this is interesting.
He just does. He just gets annoying little results that you shouldn't really get, but he does them. And
okay, I see what you mean. You mean.
In terms of the emotional side of things, he gets a lot more emotional than Dyche. But in the terms of how he sets his team up, is usually very defensive. He has a 4-4-2 formation, and he just does get results.
Yeah.
I mean,
I had Liverpool to go all the way again. I had Liverpool to go all the way again.
I agree.
Atletico Madrid and stamped all over that, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
I was shocked when I saw they'd won at Anfield. I was in shock because Liverpool have been this, especially in the Premier League, and they were quite confident in the Champions League going up to that game. They just seemed unstoppable in every sense. I was quite confident they'd get the double, but Atletico Madrid, the fact that they've beaten the champions, does that give them the confidence to carry on? Fortunately, we've had this break from everything that's going on in the world. I don't know what that will do to their squad.
No. It's
it's
a tricky one because although they won 3-2 at Anfield, which is no mean feat at all. That's incredible. However, the way they did it, Liverpool were it was a catalyst. The Adrian kick was a catalyst, and Adrian, as we talked about last week, when Adrian's in goal for Liverpool, you instantly get a confidence boost. You're like, right, we can get at them, and that's what they did. And fair play to them. I don't think that they have not the talent. They have the talent, but I don't think that they can't do that every single tie, and I don't think they have the attacking force
Mm,
that others
yeah.
have, and I think other teams will blow them away. So I'm personally counting Atletico Madrid out.
I'm thinking next round or semi-final. I don't
Yeah,
think they'll go all the
I,
way.
I don't think they're final material personally.
No.
Okay, so now let's move on to Juventus and Lyon. Right, this is an interesting one because Lyon won the first leg.
They did.
No one was expecting a 1-0 is a fantastic result because
Mm,
no away goals conceded. You've got the advantage. You need one goal in Juventus in Turin, and suddenly they need three, and
yeah,
it's a different picture.
yeah.
I
Uh,
mean,
it's difficult. I find Leon are the team that always gets to the last 16, but then you kind of forget they're
yeah,
there.
indeed, yeah.
Juventus have one amazing forward. You may know his name, Cristiano Ronaldo.
I've never heard of him actually, but yeah, he
No,
sounds.
yeah. Because they have the Ronaldo factor, which I'll call it.
They do.
I I'm quite confident Juventus are getting through that.
I am also very confident they will. It should the Champions League continue. Juventus are getting through that. I'd love to have faith in Lyon because I like an upset. I like an underdog
Mhm.
team, but I think we can count Lyon out, and then we're looking at lastly Barcelona and Napoli as round of 16 ties that is still yet to be played.
That
One
happened last season, didn't it? Or what did they play Leon last season? I think it was Leon, wasn't it?
Lyon, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
mm,
I
I
think
thought,
Barcelona will win this comfortably. I have to be honest.
yeah.
If Napoli managed to get a 1-1 draw at the new camp and took it to Napoli, I think it'll be a different, may possibly be a different story. But it's at the new camp for the second leg.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Barcelona really got the away goal, and I think
Yeah. Yeah.
that could spell trouble.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I think Napoli are definitely capable of a Barcelona upset,
they are.
but
Yeah,
I think they're not. They've moved a bit away from sort of when Sarri was there and Ancelotti was there for a bit.
yeah.
They're not quite the same. They're not the same
Gattuso, isn't
sort
it, the
of threat
manager?
that I thought they were.
Is it Gattuso? I think he's managing them now. I believe anyway.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, so look, so we're looking like as much as we like to see upsets, we're looking really at a last eight which you'd expect to see bar Atalanta. Like
Mm.
you're looking at realistically. I'm going to run through all of them that we think are going to in the last eight,
Yeah.
and you're going to give me your finalists. Okay,
Okay.
so Barca,
Yeah.
Bayern Munich, Juventus. We're saying Man City,
Yeah.
because you have to go with that.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid, PSG, Leipzig, and Atalanta.
You know, I'm going for a Bayern Munich Man City final.
Wow, very, very interesting. Okay.
The reason I say that is because I think Manchester City Premier League's gone. They may
That's
do well.
very,
They may do well domestically, but the Premier League's gone.
that's a very good point.
Pep Guardiola is going to want a big trophy. He always wants a big trophy. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to really power through, and they'll fight off because they got the team. They'll fight off
Yeah.
any team. I think they can get to the final. Bayern Munich, they've been the standout. Like I've said earlier on, that they've been the standout team. They've just been. I've watched Bayern Munich most of the games, and I just look at them. I'm like, what? They're mental.
Yeah.
Honestly, insane. Barcelona, obviously, are Barcelona. They're capable of anything. But again, they've had upset. They have been unfortunate. Well, not unfortunate, but they haven't played well when they get semi-finals and stuff. You know, you would expect Barcelona going in with a 3-0 win over Liverpool last season to have eased through that, but they still lost. So it, you know, Barcelona I feel will fall again. PSG I feel like will fall again because they always do those teams. Atletico Madrid they don't quite have enough. Semi-finals I think. And Juventus, it'll be semi-finals as well. But I think Bayern Munich, Manchester City, and I'm going to go Bayern Munich to win the Champions League.
Interesting. It's a very good shout. It's a very good shout. Right. I think that I agree with you about Barcelona. I think they will falter again and probably semi-finals, I'd say. I'm going tricky, but I agree with you about Bayern Munich. I think in the Champions League, especially, they're looking a class above everyone.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm going to have to say Juventus just because I think with Ronaldo in that team, I know obviously like Ajax last season was just another level in terms of where you're at. However, Juventus, like, I just think they'll have the experience because they've got so much experience in that team.
Do you think if Juventus win, it makes Ronaldo the best player in the world?
Oh no, it doesn't because I'm a stubborn git, and I think Messi keeps on proving this season as well. Just the amount of goals he gets for a wing is it's unheard of, and
I think that's a discussion for another day because we could go really crazy with that. Because I'm a Ronaldo fan, you're a Messi fan, so we could really.
I think Messi Ronaldo could be a whole 24-hour binge.
Yeah, exactly.
For another day. You're right. There's so many different angles you can look at it.
But it's an interesting thought to have.
It is. So I am also actually going Bayern Munich to win.
Okay, there we go.
You're Bayern Munich.
On the A to Z of Football podcast, you've heard it here. We are both betting Bayern Munich to be the 2020 Champions League winners.
If the Champions League resumes and they do some sort of World Cup style whatever fight like they might do for the Premier League, maybe is what we're hearing. If they do something like that for the Champions League, Bayern Munich are going to win it. You've heard it here first. Probably not the first person to say it, but we don't know anyone else at the moment, so we're putting our stamp on it. Who I would have liked to have seen win is Dortmund, but they're already out. But I'm hoping that they can do it next season, maybe. If Sanchez is going to go, so but that's also a discussion for a different time. Okay, so that was Champions League. Tick.
Let's move on and let's have a little talk. We'll leave. I think we'll do the top. We'll do our top four discussion last. I think.
Okay.
I think we should have a talk. Obviously, the coronavirus has devastated this planet so far.
It has.
It has completely shook up all of Europe, all of America, all of Asia.
Yeah. Everywhere.
Do we think now that football's gone for a while, indefinitely, do we think when we get back to football, is it ever going to be the same?
I have quite a I'm quite conflicted with my own opinions of this. I think what it's doing and what it will do once it's over, I think it'll be great for non-league football. I think people and are really, now it's gone, people don't realize what they sort of had. Like it's that old sort of threat, like watching football every weekend is just, it's a part of life for a lot of people. And I think now that now that everything has stopped, I think it will make people appreciate what they have and what they have so close to them. There's so many. I'm going off a bit of a tangent here, but what I'm trying to say is that non-league football is being just engulfed by, and lower league football as well for that matter. It's just being engulfed by the BPL and the amount of money they have. Like with it, they've come out recently and they've said, look, all non-league from I think non-league south downwards, or like the non-league north and south downwards, their results are being white. The season's over already, which is just if you look at that and then the Premier League and the leagues above carry on, that'll just be that'll be just awful. So I think it'll make people realise what they've got on their doorstep more.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I completely with you on that. I think the way this so suddenly happened is, I think people are going to be very, very careful when they come out of this, when they come out of lockdown. when they, I mean, you hope so, because when people say we go back to normal, you can't sit here and think when normal is the same normal we had before, because if we had that idea, then when if it were to happen again, which hopefully wouldn't be in our lifetimes, we would do the same thing would happen. We have to come out of this and actually consider, when we go to our sporting venues, are we too close together? Are we too, not hygienic enough when we go into these stadiums? Are we not checking who's going in and what they've got?
The thing is about that
is that gonna affect the sporting environment, the sporting mentality, the sporting excitement that we get with being with a social crowd of people watching our favourite team?
I think there's a very fine line. It's the clubs will need to make a statement when football does return that they want this tackled, and they don't want it, because I read it was quite shocking. The Atalanta versus Valencia last 16 leg, 40,000 people in Italy got infected from that. So there is an argument of course that crowded spaces should be looked at, but then there's a whole different ballpark and a whole different, that is almost, I mean, without putting it into such an emotional context, that would just sort of drain the life out of football stadiums if big measures were taken. So like there's only parts of the ground that cut off or whatever, or you're not allowed to be close together, because that the whole point of going to the football is that you're surrounded by the same supporters, you're all following a team, and you're on a journey. And I think
it's those moments you share with strangers, isn't it? That there's a. I mean, we're being hypothetical here, and I want to make that clear to the people listening. This isn't what's going to be happening, but these are things that could happen. We're just hypothetically theorizing and talking about. If there's nothing stronger, there's something more of people being together than when you're in that football stadium and your team scores a goal. They're the moments you embrace a stranger. They're the moments you are with your fellow humans. They're the moments that you will share with someone just for that split moment with someone you'll never probably meet again. But
I agree.
That is what sport is. And if we come back in here, we have to change, yes. But how we change is vital to the survival of football and the survival of people watching football live in the stadium. And it's not just football, it's
every sport.
It's rugby, it's cricket, it's the Olympics, it's the World Cup. We have to think, how do we keep that but clearly show that we've learnt from what has happened in this world? And that's the vital question. I don't know if we can answer it, but
we can't, but we can give our opinions on it. The obviously the thing is that it depends. It depends what the government guidelines are as well. That if we have scientific proof that when it does finish, which I don't think will be for quite a long time, if it does finish and they say, right, there are no existing laws on where you can go now, or or what advice they give you of how close you are to people, then which I hope they don't do, but I think it's a possibility, then things will just go back to normal. However, you're right, you can't, there's nothing to replace, there's nothing clubs or you're right, any sporting venue can do really to make it safe as we would be now, and social distancing I can think of anyway, and still keep the same and still maintain people's love for whatever they're going to watch and to support, or who to support, etc. So that's it's such a fine line, isn't it? Because you want everyone to stay safe, you want everyone to be healthy, and you want everyone wants this to be over as soon as possible. And we're all quarantined, we're all isolating now, but as well, everyone's missing. I mean, us three, we're missing sport so much, and you can't wait for it to come back. So it is just such a fine line, and I think it's going to be a very tricky and intricate operation to integrate sport back into our lifestyles once this is over.
Absolutely, and I think that word you use there, integrate, is key, because it's not okay, lockdown's over, get back in the stadium, lads.
Exactly.
It's we need to slowly bring it back to that point, because we have to, because the virus doesn't just go away. It's not that lockdown's over, we found the cure, what do you do?
Yeah,
you know, we have to slowly adjust back into normal, quote unquote, lives.
Yeah.
So I think the thing we take from this discussion is 3 key points in that: local clubs and town teams and your local team will really benefit from it, because they're the small crowds, they're the home games, they're not surrounded by strangers, they're people from your community. I think also we understand the fine line that's needed to get this right, because there isn't go back to normal, and there isn't a change everything, because if you change everything, you lose the sport. If you change nothing, you get the sport, but you risk lives. So
that's it. Yeah, I think
they have to find that fine line. You're absolutely right.
I think it'll be important to note that as well, that I think everyone needs to understand, and I think most people do, is that it's not going to be, as you said, like, it's not going to be a quick fix. Like, it's not going to be we're back and then it's going to be something's decided and it's going to happen. It's going to be, unfortunately, which is frustrating, it's going to have to be a learning process for the clubs, because something like this has never happened. So it's not like they can look and they can look back at what clubs have done before, because nothing like this has ever happened.
Not at this scale, anyway.
Not to this scale, exactly. Not to this scale. So they have to learn as it's happening, which must be quite a daunting thing, especially when clubs are going out of business, which is it's such a shame. Like,
it's shocking.
It's awful, and they have to keep on adapting to what's happening around. And they, at this point, unfortunately, clubs are just going to have to just sit back and hope, really, which must be a horrible feeling to know that maybe your club might be potentially going out of existence because of a virus and the money that they bring in from all sales all around. So
I think ultimately we need to leave that discussion up to the executives. They need to all clubs need to come together now. All Premier League, Championship, all the lower leagues and everything. They all need to come together and need to go, look, how do we keep our sport alive? How do we keep the love of the sport alive? But how do we also make this a learning process? So when we have big crowds and something like this may happen again, because it could happen again, how do we make sure we have the things in place to make sure that we can control it, but we can also keep our love of the sport and our love of our fans together? And that is the question that they have to sit around and properly come to a conclusion.
There you go. Preach, Zachary, preach.
So stay home, save lives until this is over, and then we can watch football together, lads.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yeah. Stop having stupid house parties.
Don't do it.
Just sit in and watch football highlights until this is all over. Do something like that, Anyway, look, I'm fed up of talking about coronavirus. I've talked about it. Move on. Who cares? Well, no, we all care, but you know what I mean. We want to move on to another topic.
We want to talk about football.
Let's talk about
the top 4 of the Premier League, Alex.
There we go. Doing top 4 this week. Maybe we can do relegation, and next time we record, I think that'll be quite an interesting topic. But top 4 this time. Okay.
Top 4 this time.
So I'm just going to go and bring up the table. So obviously you've got Liverpool and Man City, and they're pretty concrete. Then obviously you've got Leicester, which they're on 53. They're currently, let's see, so they're 8 points above Man United in 5th, and you have Chelsea on 48, 3 points above Man United. And then we have Wolves and Sheffield United both on 43, so currently 5 points out, but Sheffield United have a game in hand. You have Spurs on 41, Arsenal on 40, and then Burnley and Crystal Palace on 39, but that's getting towards a bit of a ridiculous.
You're still only 9 points off, though.
True, it's true, and it's only a few games. Right, let's start with who we would like to see in the top 4 at the end of the season.
Okay, So
Okay.
obviously, my top four: Liverpool, Man City, Leicester deserve to be in that top four. They've
Agreed.
had an amazing season.
Agreed.
They absolutely deserve to be in that third place. They
Mhm.
probably deserve to be second, in my all honest opinion.
Probably.
But for fourth place, obviously, of course, I'd love Spurs to get in there. But I'm a realist, so I don't know if they might get fifth, they might get sixth, Spurs, but I don't think they'll get fourth. I think fourth is a fight between Wolves and Manchester United and Chelsea.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to second that because I think Wolves, although only that they came up last season,
Yeah,
they already look like they're a team threatening that top. I mean, obviously they're sixth at the moment, so of course they are. But they're the original top six, the OG top six. OG because Man City aren't. You can't really say Man City are OG, but that's a
yeah,
for a different discussion. They're a team that look like they from last season they finished seventh.
yes,
And now they're sixth, and actually top four really isn't that far away. Last season it was always it hazy and like it was possibly there, it wasn't. Now they're in there and they look like they could disrupt the top six and continue doing it for seasons, which
definitely.
is the impressive thing about them because they're constantly improving, they're constantly growing.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that shout. I think you're right. I think it'll be a shout between those three, as you said. Who do you think is going to get it?
That's tricky because I think Chelsea have the ability to stay there, but they started just being a little bit inconsistent towards the season coming to a stop. So I'm not sure. They're young though. Chelsea are young, so if they didn't get top four, I wouldn't be all that shocked. I think most Chelsea fans would be kind of accepted. They're a young squad. They're growing. Lampard's come in as this new manager who has only managed Derby, and doesn't have the trophy experience of a Mourinho or of an Ancelotti. So I think if Chelsea weren't to get that top four, I don't think it would be ends all. I think Manchester United fans have waited so long to be reconsidered as a top team. And I think next season they could be really dangerous, like really dangerous.
I agree.
Because they started really they were getting like proper confident and good towards the end of it. I think if they came back with all the teams came back with the same mentality, I think Manchester United or Wolves definitely deserve that fourth spot. I'd like to see Wolves get it because Wolves are still an underdog squad in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
And to see them in the Champions League would be incredible just because of the squad they've got and for the fans of Wolves as well. For who I'd like to see, I'd like to see Wolves get it. Who I think will get it is Manchester United.
Okay, interesting. So that's interesting. So obviously you got Liverpool, you got City, and I think Leicester are going to stay third. I think they're going to do it. I think they'll struggle, and I think it'll get tight. But I think that they'll just about solidify and stay third, which I think will be a fantastic achievement. Like I think it's been overshadowed a bit by how well Liverpool are doing this season. Like with how great Leicester are. Like Liverpool being so good is overshadowing how good Leicester are. But anyway, so then it's the fourth spot dilemma, isn't it? Obviously you've got. I'm going to count Sheffield United out, unfortunately, although I think what they've done this season.
Do you think they'll get Europe though?
I think they will. I think they'll get Europa League. I think they'll get seventh.
Yeah.
But I just don't think they'll maintain. They'll maintain it enough. Should the fixtures finish, that they'll get into that fourth spot. Although, I mean, again, it's unbelievable achievement that we're even talking about them. I
honestly thought they'd be bottom of the table. I thought they'd be relegated by Christmas.
I have to say, if Jack Meehan, if you're listening, mate, well done. Me and him made a £50 bet at the start of the season that Burnley would finish above Sheffield United and vice versa, and it's looking like he might be onto that, unfortunately. However,
you take a bet, you got to lose a bet sometimes. It's fine.
You can lose a bet. Let's just hope the season doesn't finish in that respect, and then it's voided, so I don't have to pay him £50. But anyway, on a different note, I think looking down past Sheffield United, Tottenham, I mean, injuries. I mean, by the time we restart, ironically, you may have some people back, but I just think it's not going to happen this season. Arsenal, again, they could get up to 43 points with their game in hand, but so shaky at the back. And then obviously looking at the...
Sorry to interrupt you guys, but I think Tottenham and Arsenal, 8th and 9th, they deserve to be there.
Oh, definitely.
They deserve to finish 8th and 9th.
Mm-hmm.
I want to finish above Arsenal, obviously. So Tottenham 8th. But who deserve to go into Europe in the Champions League? Sheffield United being immense.
Definitely.
They deserve at least 7th. Wolves definitely deserve at least 5th. And then obviously Man U or Chelsea in that 4th spot.
I actually think, ironically, it would be good for both of you, both Arsenal and Tottenham, if you didn't get Europe. To be honest, because then I think, especially Europa League, I think takes a big toll on a squad, like playing Thursday, Sundays. Arsenal should be used to it, because obviously a Champions League team up until 3 or 4 years ago. I think one season where they just don't have Europe would actually really help Arteta. Yeah. And I think he could do well. But anyway, let's move back to. So we've got Chelsea, we've got United, and we've got Wolves. I've been very, very, very impressed with Chelsea this season. I think I'm actually weirdly they're quite likable this season because.
Yeah, no, I agree. As a Tottenham fan, I can even say that.
I mean, and that must be painful for you to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got good young English players. They've got Mount coming through. They've got Abraham. They've got Tomori. They've got Reece James at right back. Like, these are all really exciting young players. They've got Billy Gilmore for Scotland, who looked class in his last couple of fixtures.
He's like a Scottish Jorginho, isn't he?
He is. I'd say better, but that could trigger a few Italian fans. But hey, come at me. Anyway. We are looking, so we've got them, so they're likable. I like Chelsea this season, which is weird because usually, they're under a Mourinho or a Conte, who Conte divided opinion with. I didn't really like him, but obviously you can't deny he did a fantastic job with them.
Well, when they won the Premier League under Conte, I thought Chelsea were incredible.
Yeah, no, they were fantastic.
Yeah, they were strong. They were threatening. They were kind of scary. I think that might be Diego Costa, to be fair, but they were scary for sure.
They were. They were very good, but not likable. And I think that's an important thing. Like, Chelsea are actually you look at them, you say, I like what they're trying to do there.
Yeah.
And then you've got United, who, again, I think all three of Chelsea, United for the first time in a long time, they're likable in a way that. Again, they've got young British English talent. They've got Greenwood, they've got Rashford, Lingard. I'm joking, that's not a thing. So yes, they've got Williams, Wan-Bissaka. Again, young English talent, which I love. And they're all getting first team football. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's devoted to youth. They've bought in very well with Bruno Fernandes, who's been fantastic for them since coming in.
Yeah, I felt like, I almost felt like giving Fernandes, when we did Team of the Season last week, I almost felt like putting him in there.
Honourable mention, definitely.
Which is insane, because he's only played, 4 games?
Yeah, 4 or 5 games. Yeah.
I think he was just a star player anyway when he came in. But honestly, if I think Chelsea have been quite exciting as a young squad this season, and I think it would be unfortunate if they didn't get at least 5th.
Yes, I agree.
I think Wolves deserve it, though.
I think that is the thing. I was just about to get on to Wolves. So Wolves, I love watching Wolves play. I think they've got a system and they stick to it, and they just get results. Like, I don't know what that get results thing was, but they get results. They, they've got a fantastic system. They've got a great striker. They've got Adama Traore, who I mentioned last week, is just
I mean, looking at it, Wolves have lost less games than Manchester City.
That is very interesting. I did not know that.
They've lost one.
They've done double over
Manchester
as well.
City.
Actually, they've done double over Man City this season. So let me sum up with this. I would like Wolves. I think. I mean, as with everyone, like they're the ones. They're in a very realistic shout. The way they play, because I think it's more sustainable than Sheffield United. It's more. It's more guaranteed to get some results.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean?
Because they're more rounded team, aren't they?
The thing is about Sheffield United as well. I'm just looking at it now. Their two top scorers have both only got 5 goals between them. So they've John Fleck, who's a midfielder, a central midfielder. To me, said 5. Like
that's not a lot.
It's mental that they're their top scorer. They've got 2 people on 5 goals, which is it's weird. And I think that's what sort of makes me think that they might not be able to sustain it, because they haven't got a goal scorer, and then if these people who keep on chipping in with goals, they're not there anymore, or they're not there. But you know what I mean? Like they're not scoring like once every 3 games or whatever. Then it's not sustainable. Whereas Wolves, they've got this Adama Traore and Raul Jimenez partnership, which at any time can produce. And I think that's what makes me prioritise Wolves over Sheffield United. So I would like to see Wolves. I fortunately don't think they'll get it, and I actually think United are going to sneak into 4th.
Yeah, I think we're agreeing on that, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we are, and I would. To be honest, it doesn't pain me to say that, as I thought it would. It's because they
probably deserve it towards the end of the season.
They see since Fernandes has come in. Obviously, I know it's one player, and that could have, if the season does start again, we don't know under what circumstances. If I feel like if Fernandes goes for a bad run of form, United will go for a bad run of form, and I think it's. But I don't see. He looks like a leader. He looks like he wants it, and if he carries it on, which I think he will, they have much more threat than Chelsea do.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think it'll be very tight. I think it'll go down to the last couple of games or there, whatever. However, I think United are going to pip it, and then Chelsea 5th, Wolves 6th, as it is now. Blinking out.
You know what? That is the perfect way to end that, Alex. Because I completely agree with you. Manchester United coming 4th, Chelsea 5th, Wolves 6th. Tottenham and Arsenal coming 8th and 9th. Sheffield United staying 7th. And Burnley and Crystal Palace will have to fight out to be in the top half of the table.
But if Burnley get top 10, I'll be loving life. I'll tell you what, I'll be absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good achievement. I think Burnley deserve it more than Crystal Palace. But anyway, that is it. That's it. We're all talked out.
We are. I'm gonna have to, lie down. This is my one exercise for the day. Just talking loudly into a microphone. I'm joking. I'm doing my one exercise a day, people. You should as well. Subscribe to the A to their football. I've been Alex, the A. He's been Zach, the Z. This is a great sign off, isn't it? I'm smashing. Yeah. Anyway, stay safe, stay home. And we will hopefully see you for the third episode.
Make sure that you check it, come back in for the 3rd episode, and also follow us on our social media, which you'll find in the links of these videos and podcasts. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.